Picture this: the Soviet Union in the 1930s, a land of contradictions, a mix of progress and regression. It was a time of great transformation. Factories sprouted like mushrooms, mirroring the grandeur of industrialization. In the countryside, farms were being collectivized, a sweeping change that signaled the end of individual farming. The man at the helm, Joseph Stalin, was consolidating power, casting a long, ominous shadow over the nation. His grip on the Communist Party tightened, leading to an atmosphere thick with tension and paranoia. The party was no longer a forum for discussion, it morphed into an echo chamber for Stalin's will. But beneath this veneer of progress, a storm was brewing, one that would shake the Soviet Union to its core. Enter the Great Purge, Stalin's ruthless campaign of political repression that swept across the Soviet Union between 1936 and 1938. This grim period was marked by a chilling wave of arrests, executions and forced labor, all in the name of consolidating Stalin's power. The spark that ignited this reign of terror was the assassination of Sergei Kirov in 1934, a prominent Bolshevik leader. Although the circumstances of his death are shrouded in mystery, it's widely believed that Stalin used Kirov's demise as a pretext to begin the purge. This set the stage for a systematic crackdown on perceived enemies of the state. In 1936, the curtain rose on the first of the infamous Moscow trials, where prominent old Bolsheviks were accused of conspiring against the Soviet state. These show trials were a spectacle of forced confessions and predetermined verdicts, a macabre dance of justice designed to legitimize the purge. The purging of the Red Army followed, a strategic move by Stalin to weed out potential rivals in the military. In a swift and ruthless wave, thousands of officers were arrested and executed, leaving the Red Army's command structure hollowed out and vulnerable. Meanwhile, ordinary citizens weren't spared from Stalin's iron fist. Accused of being enemies of the state, countless individuals were rounded up, subjected to brutal interrogations, and either executed or sent to labor camps. The scale and brutality of this repression were unprecedented, enveloping the entire Soviet Union in a cloud of fear and suspicion. The Great Purge was not just a political maneuver, it was a brutal campaign of terror that reached into every corner of Soviet society. It was a time when neighbor turned against neighbor, when the innocent were made guilty, and when the price of dissent was death. In the end, the Great Purge served its purpose. Stalin's power was consolidated, his potential rivals were eliminated, and the Soviet people were left cowed and compliant. But the cost was immense, both in terms of human lives and the long-lasting impact on Soviet society. The Great Purge was a dark chapter in Soviet history, a time of fear, suspicion, and widespread violence. The Great Purge officially ended in 1938, but its effects lingered, casting a long shadow over the Soviet Union. In the immediate aftermath, Joseph Stalin, the man at the helm of this ruthless campaign, further consolidated his power. His grip tightened, and any opposition, real or imagined, was crushed under his iron rule. The Red Army, once a formidable force, was left significantly weakened. Its top echelons were decimated, leaving a void of leadership that would take years to fill. This weakening of the military could not have come at a more perilous time, as the world was on the brink of the Second World War. The purge also instilled a deep-seated culture of fear and silence amongst the populace. Dissent was not merely discouraged, it was suppressed with an iron fist. This culture of fear seeped into every aspect of Soviet society, stifling creativity, innovation, and progress. Internationally, the Great Purge tarnished the image of the Soviet Union. The brutal repression and blatant disregard for human rights drew widespread condemnation, straining the Soviet Union's relations with other nations. The Great Purge, a grim testament to the destructive power of political paranoia, forever changed the course of Soviet history.